Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for another transfer update live show where we're going to go through all the latest news related to obviously Arsenal and transfers, incomings and outgoings. And we'll go a bit of an update as well during this show on Fabio Vieira and the very vague information we got late last night about Fabio Vieira and his injury/illness that's took him out of the Under-21s European Championships for Portugal. But we'll get into that later. But as I say, mainly we'll focus on the transfer incomings, possible incomings anyway. And looks like another outgoing, which has threw everyone off because no one saw it coming this summer, especially with other outgoings definitely going ahead apparently. But if you are into the channel, do smash that like button, do subscribe, and do share the content around because all you guys share it and like it and all that. YouTube see it, algorithm, and hopefully amongst all that, their can glitch out, and then anyone that's been sort of forcibly removed from my channel will be brought back by YouTube and their infinite wisdom of, well, we know there's a glitch, everyone's complaining, but we're going to wait nearly 3.5 weeks to deal with it. In the meantime, channels like mine are suffering. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, it does help. It really does help if you guys do share the content around and do smash that like button, etc., etc. But yeah, first topic of conversation, we're going to start with a possible outgoing in it. That is one of Thomas Partey. Now this broke yesterday. Late yesterday morning. Sorry. And completely out of the blue, and it's got everyone talking. Some people are losing their minds and not reading between the lines of all aspects, so we say. And some are, and that means that the ones that are more balanced and think we must have something lined up because of. We all know Granit Xhaka at some point he's going to buy Leverkusen. We know that. That's done and dusted. It's just a matter of getting our replacement in first, then sanctioning him to go to Germany. But Partey was a bit of an out of the blue one. But for me, I'm one of the ones that are level-headed on this and I can see all reasons why. From a footballing perspective, he's injury prone. In the time that he's been at Arsenal, how many times has he been injured for Arsenal at the key moments when we need him most? How many? I mean, this season just gone was his best season for Arsenal on the pitch, performance-wise. And he was still getting injured at the worst times for us. Then you add into the equation how can I put this? The allegations from football Twitter, so we say, against him that's been hanging over his head by football Twitter and social media in general for the last basically 12 months to the day. I think everything's come to a head, and I think the main thing is he's 30. He's 29. He's pushing his 30s now. He's about to turn 30. As I say, he's injury prone, and I have that mindset of you get your chances. If you keep letting me down, I'll replace you. We've seen it with Kieran Tierney. Ever since Arteta's come in, Tierney was constantly injured, no matter what, and it was doing our heads in as fans. Imagine what it was doing to Arteta. He went out and got Zinchenko, and then because of again Tierney got injured at the start of last season, Zinchenko took the left back spot and made it his own basically. So Arteta's not afraid to if you like to stay, you're gonna get dropped basically. I think in this case it's more of his age against him, other things as well, and his injury prone. It's just constant. It's a shame because there's a player there. The player is there. He's shown it last season when he isn't injured. He's our best midfielder by a mile in terms of what we currently have in our squad. But he's just not reliable enough, and Arteta needs to go for titles and win titles, be it league title, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, etc. In these players you can rely on. And one of your starting 11 players is a midfielder, need to anchor in your midfield. You can't rely on him to be fully fit for the majority of the season. The question's got to be asked, and so I get it from that point of view that if he is going to go, he has to go now. He's got 2 years left on his contract as well. What else? What I don't get why people. I really don't get why people are having a massive meltdown. When you add in the potential other circumstances to the equation, and so, as I referred to earlier, the social media allegations, shall we say. Not going to go into because legally can't really go into it all because nothing's player technically hasn't been named, but it's always hung over Partey's head for the last 12 months nearly. And then obviously the football aspect is just yeah. And again, everyone's having a panic attack. It's like, he's our best midfielder. Why do we let him go? Why would we let him and Xhaka go? Well, Xhaka just wants a new challenge, and again, both players are in their 30s now. They're not going to get long-term contracts after this at Arsenal. That's the main reason why Xhaka's going, because we won't give him a 3-year contract. That's the only reason why he's going to Bayer Leverkusen. That's the main reason, because they're willing to offer him a 3-year deal, where we weren't willing to do that. We're going back to the old school way of how he was in the early years of Arsene Wenger. Wenger had that mentality of once you hit the day you turn 30, you will not be getting more than a 1-year contract extension every season. That was it. That was Wenger's thing. Then, because everyone complained and the moving into the end was still complaining, he sort of yielded on that. It backfired. Look how it backfired. When he started yielding, he got proved right eventually that he's reason behind it. So I think we are looking to go back down that direction. And if you look at the midfielders that we are looking to bring in terms of Declan Rice, in terms of Levia, in terms of who's the other one? Oh, mine's gone blank. Who's the other one? We've been linked to Casado, even though there's rumours we pulled out because of bidding. They want to get in the bidding war. We don't want that. We look at the midfielders we've been linked with, or we're making bids on. Look at how old they are. There's longevity in their careers. Their ceilings are through the roof potentially, and people just need to sort of go, okay, the club have a plan. It's okay. We will not. We won't have a meltdown over it. But some people have to have a meltdown for clicks. Apparently, we all know who that person is. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is on that side of things. If he goes, he goes. If he doesn't, as someone's mentioned in the chat already, I'm not looking at the chat now. I think it was Tom that mentioned it. It'd be a good squad party if he kept the party was to stay. Be a good squad player. Yeah, but would he be? No, I'm not talking about you. God's sake, the world doesn't center around you, Luca. Bloody hell. Does it? Yes, it does, Tom. Yes, it does. Yes. Oh dear. No, don't go into that. There's a few comments. I was reading a few comments. Sorry. But yeah, as I say, would Partey be happy to accept from being a starter since he walked through the door to then being demoted to a squad player? He ain't gonna. From a footballing aspect, he's not going to want to accept that, even though he should. Let's be brutally honest, because he isn't reliable. But it is what it is. Can I say on that? Apart from if he goes, he goes. I do trust Edu and Mikel to come together and bring in suitable replacements that we won't see a major drop off on the pitch. I trust them. because of what I've seen, how they both operate. Nine times out of 10, the players we bring in, they have worked under Mikel, and they do. 9 times out of 10. As I say, the odd one or two that haven't worked, obviously, as we know. But the majority have worked. That's the point I'm trying to make to people, not just on here now, but on social media and in WhatsApp groups and all that. They look at the broader picture of things. As I say, the majority of players we do bring in, the other guards. Thomas Partey eventually did work out because obviously he had a bit of a wobble at first. It took him over a year to fucking settle in, basically, and form that bond with Granit. Saliba was technically enemy, but he took over anyway. But Aaron Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Ben White, right now Gabriel was under Arteta. Sorry, mine's gone blank. Sorry. As I say, Odegaard and I think now Jesus, Zinchenko, they've all worked. To an extent, they've all worked. The ones that haven't worked, Willian, Pablo Mari, Cedric. I'm trying to think of Fabio Vieira's early days. I'm going to get onto Fabio Vieira in a bit, actually. But Fabio Vieira's only been here for like 11 months, going on 12 months nearly. So it's still early days on Fabio. But the other three, they didn't work. Two of them gone, obviously. And Cedric's on his way out. Yeah, come on, do the math. It's like, it ain't that hard to realise there is progress, that things do work. They have got a plan. The plan does majority of the time work. But it is what it is. I'm going to move on now quickly after this. I'm going to go through the chat quickly. As everyone's out to pop in now. I'm surprised about the amount of people popping in, by the way, because obviously it is early doors and all that here in the UK. We've got obviously Luca in the chat. We've got Emerson. Big up Emerson. Says, morning, Ryan. Only one bit of academy news. That one youngster has found a club. Cal Green has signed for Colchester United, and others that have left not found a club yet. Okay. Well, good luck to him, obviously. See, hope he has a good career and all that. Anyway, got Ange in the chat. Says morning. We've got Hawkwind in the chat. Got Collins. Good morning, shall we hold our breath for the first signing? I think it's the first two will be soon. Obviously, looks like the first two are going to be Kai, and Declan. What way round, I don't know. So don't hold me to what way round it's going to be, but they seem to be the first. Look to be the first two that we're going to be bringing in. People bagging on Partey and hoping he leaves are mind-numbing to me. I'm not hoping he leaves. I'm just saying if he did leave, I'm not going to lose my mind about it. I understand why we're looking to sort of move. The club are looking to move him on potentially because of the injuries, mainly because of other things we can't really talk about because legally we can't really, because obviously names and still allegations against him, because obviously he's never been officially named by the police. Yeah, and obviously we don't know if it is him. I've been a staunch defender in terms of if it was him, if it was him, the club wouldn't be stupid enough to not talk to the police and the police dean of it with the information then given. They would not be stupid enough to then play him for the entire season. If there was any inkling that it was him and he'd done what's been reported within 12 months, the club wouldn't be that stupid, surely. But you never know. Obviously, we don't know. That might have an effect on why they're thinking that maybe month before it all comes out. But I don't think it is. I think it's more so down to the fact that he's constantly not constantly into, but since he's come to us, Atletico was barely ever injured at Atletico. He's come to us, and he's picking up 2 to 3 injuries every season. And then you look at that, and the fact that he's now 29, pushing 30 this year, it ain't going to get any better. Basically, I think as far as they're concerned, it's not going to get any better. So rather, with 2 years left in his contract, move him on, get a bit of money for him, and bring someone else in and get the wheels moving again. All this, I will say this though, if this does happen, and obviously with Granit going as well, the rumours of Jorginho going were complete bollocks. Basically, that's what's going to quash that. Basically, because in Arsenal's infinite wisdom, they would not be stupid enough to let go of Granit, Partey, and Jorginho, are 3 senior midfielders all in one hit, and then bring in 1 senior midfielder in Declan Rice potentially, and then bring in Premier League proven but not of that level. If that makes sense, they wouldn't be that stupid enough. What's an London colour that called Partey to be interesting? I don't know what it is. It's just bizarre. It's like even this, as I say, even this season just gone, he had his best. But he has been his best season on the pitch. He's been picking up little niggles here and there. It's just like, and then he dropped off, and we needed him most from the West Ham mistake ironically against Declan Rice to need to bring him back into 2-1. He completely dropped off ever since then. Well, kept the comment on rumours that Odegaard is a because Scotland won. Again, these comments would be coming from a certain person in Spain, would they, Stefan? Tom, sorry. They wouldn't be coming from a certain person in Spain now, would they? Now we're talking about Oneni signing a new contract at the start of last season. That was only up till this summer, and then he got injured back in January, February time. He got given an extension basically for this season coming. So we know he'll be a squad player this coming season, and we'll be back for pre-season. Yeah, that's the main thing. We will have him now and then. Again, hopefully he comes back and he's fully fit and no more injuries with him. But again, he's look at his age as well. He's not getting any younger himself. But again, we can't let go of Granit, Jorginho, and Partey and just put everything on him and Declan. That would be absolutely naive from the club to do that. So I think if Partey was to go, Jorginho will stay to the remainder of his contract and might even get an extension of a further year, so then we can send him on next summer instead, potentially. Also, big up Ange as well. Obviously, seen the comment before about your mother. Hopefully, the full recovery and gets better soon. Fabio was awfully expensive, like ESR bet myself. ESR, yeah, definitely. And I think we're going to see a lot more of ESR this season coming because you got to remember he picked up some knock during the pre-season. They've tried rushing him back against United. It made it even worse. Had to have surgery. Couldn't get back. Wasn't back until late December, early January. And it was just literally because of the surgery he had and what was going on. They actually used their brains this time. They've been easing him in slowly, gradually, but not. But personally, near the end of the season, I would have given him more minutes. Again, started him against Southampton, started him against Brighton, against Nottingham Forest, them sort of games. Getting ticking over, getting ready for this. Also, he's got this summer to look forward to with the under-21 championship and all that. But get him ready. But nope, we just bit part here, bit part there. But as I say, we will. I think no matter what, in terms of outgoings, we'll see a lot more VSR this season, in my opinion. A lot more League and Champions League, by the way. We'll see a lot more of him. Assuming touch wood, he stays injury free coming over this summer, basically. Thoughts on any future? I don't see him leaving. Would you pay 100k a week when he gave him 5 years? Again, I've been saying this for the last 12 months, Luke. I don't know if you've been watching for this that long. And since this is all happened, I've addressed it numerous times. I'm sick of addressing it, but right. This is my opinion on the whole situation already in Getty. If we had made Champions League the season before over Tottenham, we would have bit the bullet and let Eddie go for nothing. We would have had Champions League football. We would have still got Jesus in, but we would have then had the funding and the law of Champions League football to then go and get another striker. Don't know who, but that would be down to the club. They hadn't had in mind because they put it out to the public at the top. They had plans, a Europa League plan for worst case, and the Champions League plan they had. And I'm convinced if we'd gotten top 4 the year before, he would have been let go. He would have been let go for free, in my opinion. The fact that we didn't get it, obviously forced our hand a bit. So we obviously then gave him a contract extension. And the length of the contract, I'm not bothered by because it's smart. If you think about it, it's smart because it was a 5-year contract extension. Yeah, he's now going to, as of the end of this month, he'll be on with 4 years left. So he's got 4 years left of his current contract. We can demand a decent fee for him if we ever decide to send him on between now and the next 12 to 18 months. And there's as we're hearing in the last 24 hours, there are clubs, Premier League and abroad, sniffing around him. Brentford, in terms of Premier League, because obviously they've got no home and Tony. They've brought in this other lad recently from Germany, from Freiburg, but they want someone proven in the league. Would we say that? I think it makes sense. I think we'd loan him with an option or obligation to buy, whatever way they want to deal with it. Because personally, I think we need. Now we are in the Champions League and we are looking to compete, not just in the league, but on the European, on the Champions League front as well, going forward. We do need to sort of upgrade on Eddie. Go and get the upgrade now. If that means he has to go out and loan or send him on, whatever. But it made sense because I'd rather our club make some money out of a situation. Let's forget he's one of our own. We didn't pay for him in the first place. He's come from our academy. So the worst case, it's another Iwobi where he came from our academy. It didn't work out. We got 40 million. We got 40 million for him. Is that Everton? Eddie didn't pay for him. Come from our academy. If it doesn't work out, we can move him on. But he's going into 4 years left of his current contract. What's the big problem there? Because the longer the length of the contract, the more of a fee we can demand, basically. We're seeing other clubs who working. What was it? Kai Havertz has got literally 2 years, going into the last 2 years of his contract. And look at the fee that Chelsea demanded. Declan Rice is going into the last year of his contract at West Ham. Look at the fee they're demanding, for fuck's sake. So imagine what we can demand then. And he got that Premier League experience. He's English as well, isn't? He's been playing for the under-21. He hasn't picked his senior national team yet in terms of he can possibly play for Ghana. I think it's Ghana. Or no, I think it was Ghana. He can play for Ghana or England. He can play for nationally anyway. Lucas saying Rice to be done next week. I think a lot of things are going to start picking up now. Between now, 2 to 3 of our signings will be done before the back end of the season, before pre-season gets underway with us. Starting next month. Yeah. Oh, behave yourself then. Go away. Go away. Someone upset you, Tom. Sorry. Wasn't my phone. Someone upset you, Tom. People like Emil Smith Rowe tend to be a poor character and smell of almonds. Oh my days. Who's upset you, Tom? Who's upset you? ESR's attitude, to go back to Smith Rowe, you see the interview where he said he's always Arsenal. He is always Arsenal and is begging for a chance to stay and fight for his spot. I love the kid. Exactly. We want that. We want that as fans. We want that. We want to hear that. No matter what. No player believes he's guaranteed a starting spot, that he wants to fight for his place, basically. And as I say, if we hadn't had that injury and then had to have the surgery that he had, he would have played a lot more last season. But circumstances prevented that, and the fact that the club kind of allowed for about for 2-3 weeks a load of BS media rumours to go around saying that Arsenal are looking to move him on, part of their clear out and all that, and then gave David Ornstein the big exclusive that no, it's part of our plans. He's going to be a big part of our pre-season, big part of our squad for next season and seasons going forward. There's no intention to get rid of him whatsoever. Says it all. The fact that his attitude as well, that since the season's ended, he's flown out to Dubai with a few of his under-21 England players and then gone and done some intensive training to keep himself fit and get ticking over. So when the under-21s championship comes along in the next couple of weeks or so, he's fit and ready to go. I tried to play the ESR with that injury. Exactly, that's my point. He picked up that injury pre-season, start pre-season, and it worked. But they kept quiet about it. But we knew about it because obviously he wasn't playing. He was out there, but he weren't playing in pre-season. And start the season, first few games, we didn't see him. And in match day 5 or 6? We played Man United at Old Trafford. Brought him on with like 25 minutes to go or whatever. He clearly had that injury, and in the warm down, it flared up. The injury really flared up. He had to have surgery, and that's what took him out for the rest of the season. That took him out for the season, basically, in terms of his playing time. As I say, between September then and early January, we didn't see him because obviously he had the surgery, had to do the recovery, and this, that, and the rehab, and all that. And it's just easing him back in because of the extent of the surgery and all that, and the injury. They had to ease him back in. They had to use the brains for once. Thoughts on Mark Gaya links to Arsenal, Crystal Palace, the Crystal Palace captain. First, I've liked him for the last couple of years. Obviously, he's one of the right talents that came through under Vieira. So if Vieira's picking him, making you his captain, you've got to be doing something right. I think he's a good, decent player. I wouldn't mind him. Bring him in as again, he'd be a squad player. He'd have to accept that and fight for his spot, but wouldn't be against it. But with the Premier League tax and all that, it's going to be a hefty price. So you be willing to accept that, Luca, if that does come to fruition and all that. But we do need to bolster our options at centre back because obviously with Rob Holding it there or not, we know Rob Holding long term. If Saliba or Gabriel gets a 2-3 month injury, Holding for that period of time can't sustain it for that amount of time. It seems he can only do that month, 4 games at most, 4 or 5 games in league games in a row, and then he has to start dipping off a bit because obviously you're comfortable. Whereas, I think someone like Mark would be breath of fresh air, knows the league, doesn't have to, knows London as well, because he's obviously that's where he's playing at the moment, on the other side of London with Palace. I personally wouldn't be against it, but we'll see what happens. In terms of Mbappe, that's not going to happen. That really isn't. Oh, and I'm not for me personally, not for me, but we'll see. I bet he isn't. Oh dear, got the eyes emoji there. But yeah, let's go back to this. I'm gonna bring this up now. Oh my bloody hell! All my days, long way round. I think it's the hell's happening here? I have no idea what happened there. Sorry about that. There we go. Now this is a few of the bits that came out yesterday. We've always touched on the Partey situation, but this is the updates on Kai Havertz, and this is where Luca loses his absolute mind, even though he doesn't understand. Yeah, the basis of what I've been trying to say this entire stream so far. Kai Havertz has been very clear with all parties from Fabrizio Romano, the official account, with all parties involved in the deal. He wants to play for Arsenal again. I'm all for it. When a player says he wants to play, he wants to come to Arsenal. He doesn't have to be convinced. Thumbs up there. After green light on contract this week, personal terms agreed, new bid to be submitted soon. Understanders hope to get the deal done after the international break, which was in the next few days or so, a couple of days give or take, when Germany played their last game or whatever, before go away for their holidays for a couple of weeks in pre-season. Now this is, for me, go back and check out my last transfer show I did. I wasn't jumping for joy like Kai Havertz, let's go and get in the air, getting the party with people's out and all that crap. But unlike others, I'm not there going, end of the world. Arteta, Edu, get them out. They ain't got a clue. What are they thinking? I actually soaked it in, sat back and thought, there's clearly a reason. Clearly, again, Kai Havertz. We all know Kai Havertz in terms of personally. He says he likes to play all across front foot. Right? He doesn't have a particular position to play. He never has done, even at Leverkusen, whatever. However, Arteta likes versatility. We all know that. But if he's bringing in someone with versatility, he clearly has a plan. I.e. Ben White. When Ben White was brought in, he played majority of his career as centre-back, as Tom will back up as well. Occasionally, once in the Blue Moon, I think, in his career, he played in midfield as a CDM in an emergency situation. Once in the Blue Moon at right back, literally once in the Blue Moon, and then, but as I say, Arteta saw that, liked it, brought him in, and he's out there publicly. Arteta's initial plan was to bring him in and straight away convert him into an out right back. But because they didn't have the squad at the time to do that, because in terms of centre backs, they'd playing for the first season at centre back, and then once the Saliba came back and they got their depth they wanted and all that players they wanted, then they would go again and say, right, now you're going to be our right back. And look what he's been. Look how good he's been at right back. Now he knows he is the right back of Arsenal. That's his position. He's not going to be here, down, everywhere. He's cracked on and literally every game. I can probably say last season he was brilliant, basically at right back. I think the May United game it looked like I think he had a little knock. had a bit of a wobble, but then we had Tomiyasu to sort of come on, do that, boom, boom, and there's no issue. So I believe if this is true, and this does happen, Arteta has a plan for this player in terms of he will bring him in and say, right, you're here, great that I love that you're versatile and all that, but we are going to put you in one particular position. Your main position. This is going to be your main position, whatever that may be it the number 8 and in the number 8 role, the backup to Saka in terms of a competition for Saka, basically for the right wing, or competition for Jesus down in the striker role, or whatever. But this is going to be your, either way, whatever position it may be, that's going to be it. And we want you to work on that. Once the blue moon, might call you out and you could go whatever. But this is your position, be it striker or whatever. And we will see a better. I personally think under Arteta and the Arsenal setup and how we play, we will see a better Kai Havertz than what we've seen at Chelsea, consistent-wise. In terms of consistency, we will see a far better Kai Havertz at Arsenal than at Chelsea. Because the reason why I say this is because if you look at the Kai Havertz we saw before he went to Chelsea in terms of the Leverkusen days, and even nowadays, we go to while he's been at Chelsea, he goes and plays for Germany, obviously national team. Sorry, give away on the screen there, but goes and plays his stuff for Germany. He looks a completely different player for Germany than what we've seen at Chelsea, right? Look at the difference. The reason why, because Chelsea play a certain way, which has been main for the last 20 plus years of Chelsea's existence, basically been relevant. Basically, they've mainly hired defensive-minded coaches, so that's managers, Mourinho's, Ancelotti's, Philippe Scolari. Fucking hell, you're going through it now. Gus Hiddink, yeah. Even Fat Frank, for crying out loud, twice. That only sort of, literally I can say, Sarri, Graham Potter are the only managers that have been brought in to try and change the philosophy at Chelsea to be a more open, attacking team. It hasn't worked, obviously. But the majority of the managers have been of that defensive mindset. And Kai Havertz doesn't suit that clearly doesn't suit it, that mindset. Whereas if you look at his time at Leverkusen, look at his contribution to Germany, and the style of football his national team plays, but Leverkusen played at the time, and how Arsenal play. I think we're onto something here. I think Arteta's onto something. I'm not going to lose my mind about it. If it does happen, bring it on, and I'll be here waiting and hoping, obviously, because I back my team, unlike others. I'll be sitting here during the season going, see, I was right. There was a plan. It is working. I was right about the playing style. It was suiting. Look how it's benefiting us. Hopefully, but we'll see. I mean, what about you guys? Let's have a look in the chat, see what you guys have got to say about this. We've got Tom Havertz leaving mid-table Chelsea for Champions League football. Imagine my shock. But again, like you said the other day, Tom, we touched on this the first time a couple of days ago. He did score. He did. Chelsea fans fucking berate him. Even before this news came out, they berate him. They can't stand him, basically, majority of them, right? The guy scored him a winning goal for the Champions League 2 years ago in the final against City. He's part of their history, like it or not, Chelsea fans. He's part of your history. If it weren't for him, you wouldn't have a second Champions League title. Like it or not, it's just like you try bringing in these flair players and they don't suit a defence-minded system. They are more suited to the German way, the Arsenal way, where it's literally open, expansive, attacking football. not this sit back and counter attack if we can. Why would they play a defensive game when they have an array of more than decent players? That's been their thing, though, Stefan. Ever since Roman came along, and obviously he obviously inherited Ranieri, but obviously his first manager that he hired himself was Mourinho. Ever since Mourinho onwards, it's been defense, but mainly the majority of the coaches that he's hired and now Todd has been attack-minded, a defensive-minded style of football. Look at the managers they it'll be all day looking naming them, but literally Mourinho, Avram Grant, I believe that one. Avram Grant, Gus Hiddink twice, briefly. Philippe Scolari, trying to think now, fucking Di Matteo, Berto Di Matteo briefly. Even he was sort of in the middle of it, but it wasn't what was wanted, basically. They fucked up the league of flying if it got sacked. And when they go down the attack, we want to expand ourselves and move on from this and go into the open, expansive attacking football. They brought in, I think that AVB, that didn't work. Then a few years, about 5-6 years later, Sarri did that. That didn't work. Even the fans turned on something. He was brought in specifically to turn this. It was put out there to turn the playing style into a more attacking, open way, like we do. Like we play at Arsenal. They turned him because he was trying to do that and weren't getting the results straight away. They turned on him, as we saw. And now we're going to see the same. We saw the same thing under Graham Potter, under the new ownership. And we're going to see the same thing under Poch as well, because it isn't in their DNA. It's that they are a very. It's grained into them now. But it is what it is. Colin says, "Don't get me wrong. I agree. There is a player there in Havertz, terrified of the knockdown effect through the squad, depending on the position he takes up. That's the thing. Until we know, and obviously the players know, and obviously he knows what position specifically Arteta's going to put him in. We can't really say anything more than what we're saying at the moment, because we don't know what Arteta's plan is until he comes in, if it does happen. But going by what I've seen with how he addressed the Ben White situation, and what his initial plan was from the get-go to make him his right back, I can't really say anything until then. But I have faith. I have faith in whatever Arteta's plan is, because of the work he did with Ben, for example. I'm just using Ben for example, by the way. Oh, here we go. It took you about 2 minutes late, Luca, but okay. Go back for over the last 10 minutes, and then you'll understand why I'm not losing my mind. Unlike some, I'm more relaxed on it and waiting to see what the plan is first, and why I have faith in Arteta in terms of boom. Arsenal need to bring in more players, then they sell. The squad depth is pitiful for a title contender. Yeah, that is the thing. We do need to address that one way or another. We do need our marquee signing being Declan and Kai and whatever. But we do need squad depth as well. Just because, obviously, we've got Champions League. I keep saying it. I get fucking sick of saying it, but we've got Champions League football. We've got Champions League football next season, so we can't afford to have this size squad and try and compete for a title, because if we keep with the size of the squad we've currently got, we're in trouble. In terms of, not in general in trouble, but we won't go as far as we want to do in Champions League, where we, especially depending on what group we get, We should be fine because we're in pot 2 anyway. But sorry, depending on the knockout rounds, because depending on where we finish, first or second, depending on how we do in the first knockout round and all that, it's going to be difficult. Second half of the season, then maintaining. First off, it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be the second half when the games start coming thick and fast, because we're going to have depending on how far we're going in the League Cup as well. If we go all the way to the final, for example, if we went all the way to the final, that's in what, end of February, March time, yeah. Final itself, we've got the FA Cup that starts in the first week of January. That goes all the way through till May, literally May 25th, the final at Wembley. And then depending on how far we go in Europe and how we're doing in the league, it's just going to be going thick and fast, and we do need that squad. We like it or not, guys. We need the squad depth. We need as many players in as possible. That's why before this, as the season that was ending, my priority was sorting our midfield out. We knew Granite was going, so that was one side for a second here. We needed to go out and bulk our midfield out. Hopefully, we do that. We need to bulk our midfield out. We need to go and get a backup to Saka on the right back in the right wing situation. So it's not just put on Saka all season again for the third year or fourth year in a row, whatever how long it's been now. We need to go and get another striker to compete with Jesus and push Jesus and vice versa, and that side of things. We need another right back because Tomiyasu's not, again, he's another one who's not reliable in terms of fitness. Talked about Partey earlier. He's not reliable in terms of fitness. And made the biscuits, as I keep referring to it to. So we do need a backup right back to Ben White. We need another centre back, as we mentioned already in this show. If we can address all that and not lose as much as the squad we've currently got, we can keep the majority of the squad together and maybe lose one or two players over the summer, one or two. And then I'll be okay with that. Then we get to January, bolster our squad a bit more in terms of no outgoings, a few more incomings, be it loans or whatever, and then just push ourselves forward for the rest of the season. But we can't afford to be letting go more than what we bring in, because that's just stupid. But I don't think a couple of weeks that's that naive to do that. Talking of which, Kieran Tierney, there's now news in the last few hours as well that Tierney is staying put at Arsenal. That he's not going to be. That there's been talks between him and the club respectively, and obviously Arteta has been involved in them talks, and he's more convinced that he will get his playing time at Arsenal, more playing time, and more chances to get back to take back that number one spot of being Arsenal's left back, which is fantastic news because obviously that's another thing we didn't want. We don't want losing what we've already got, the bulk of what we already got, and having to replace that this summer as well. So him staying is fantastic news. As long as he does go into fruition, that's the case come September, that he's staying put. Fantastic, because then we don't have to worry about that because we've got Zinchenko. We'd have Zinchenko and Tierney there. The centre backs we hopefully dealt with. We'd have a backup right back along with Ben, and then hopefully our midfield will be sorted. If we can address what we need to address, and lose a one or two players in the process, that's a good summer from me. But we'll see. Look, we'll see. But I'm happy because I've been a massive fan of Tierney even before he came to Arsenal. Massive fan of Tierney. When he came to us, I was ecstatic because obviously he's Scottish, from Celtic as well, Glaswegian lad, old school in terms of his mentality, winning mentality he brings as well from Celtic. And he's just, he get a bit of an old school left back that he can defend. He can actually defend. Unlike the modern day left backs, basically. And yeah, I'm so happy it does look like he's staying because that's one headache we don't need in terms of getting him going and replacing him. Especially the Saudis doing what they're doing currently and pretty much trying to buy any and everyone in the world. Hoping he was going back to Celtic. I bet you was. I bet you was. That's a question, actually, Stefan. Whilst I know what. Thoughts on Brendan Rodgers going back to Celtic after ducking and leaving you in a historic moment. Reports kicking about that Chinny Mason. That's what I'm saying. And that's fantastic news. The news that's going about at the moment. That is going about. That is brilliant. I can't. Turn into what? I don't want to ask. I'm a bit nervous about the fortress of Dynamo Tina and newly promoted team in the Albanian Premier League. I hope we can survive. God, is that your new team for next season? Until Leeds come up, you're outsourcing to Albania now, are you? It smells like Albans. Oh dear! But with that, we're going to touch on the confused. I won't say sad news. It's sort of sad, but also it's somewhat sad news, but confusing at the same time. It's basically the news about Fabio Vieira. Late last night, about 9 o'clock UK time, reports started circulating around social media and media in general that Fabio Vieira had to pull out of the Portugal under-21 squad for the upcoming championships this summer due to his health, basically. One sec. Yeah, I know he wasn't. That's why I'm asking. Why he's coming. With him coming back. How happy are you now? Let me get the statement up for Fabio Vieira. And I'll give you the exact wording of the statement that was put out. One second. Is it? No, that's not it. I'm back. Go back. Bear with me. Sorry about this. I'm just trying to find the actual tweet, the original tweet. One sec. Here we go. I think this is it. Here we go. Yep. Share screen. Again. There we go. As I say, this tweet came about, what was it? Around 16 hours ago, give or take. Fabio Vieira out of the Euro Under-21s Championships due to a medical condition that, after evaluation and follow-up by the Health and Performance Unit, USP, it has been decided not to risk the player. Player has been monitored but did not make expected recovery in time to play. No details given about the condition or injury, what the injury is. And that's sort of, even though Arsenal fans have their opinions currently of Vieira, and so far it hasn't worked out for him, it is slightly concerning that whatever's happened, that there's no details are coming out in terms of what the injury is, or if it's not an injury, is it an illness? What? It's just. monitored in the way. Says Kai. No, as I was saying, it is concerning because they're not saying if it's a physical injury or if it's an illness or what. Because if it's an injury and he's not going to be back in time for the championships, that's not boding well in terms of starting next season, like the pre-season itself for Arsenal, and come August as well for Arsenal. Doesn't bode well for the start of the season, basically, for him. It makes his job again, putting his foot down on things for Arsenal this second season a lot harder. Assuming that obviously he was going to get given the chance to assert himself for the second season. If it's not a physical injury, it's an illness or something, what sort of what is it? We need to know, because obviously, yeah, we just need to know, so we know what we're dealing with, basically. What it's sort of it's a big concern that sort of all cloaks and daggers, basically, in terms of Fabio Vieira. Whatever it is, hopefully he makes a full recovery, whatever it is, be it an actual physical injury or illness or whatever it may be. Hopefully he makes a full recovery and we see him again soon. And you can come back and hopefully try and prove us all wrong. The majority of us anyway, because it hasn't worked out so far, as we know. We've said it how many times. But yeah. The last bit of news is obviously Levia from Southampton, which again sent Luke on a absolute meltdown. I know you're probably watching Luke, I don't know if you are or not, but sent him because of the Partey news, sent Luke into an absolute meltdown yesterday. I just couldn't be asked to deal with it, so I was like, yeah, do what you normally do, whatever. But yeah, it seems like the 19-year-old has been top of Arteta's priority list to bring in as a squad player. I don't particularly think he's been targeted to come in and replace Thomas Partey, like the media are trying to put out there in the last 24 hours. I don't think that's the case at all. I think because he's 19 again. People need to remember he is 19 years old. This lad, he's played a couple of seasons with Southampton at Premier League level, so he knows the league. I think it was more about bringing him in now on a decent price, especially with Southampton going down. Get him at a decent price, and this season coming to bed him in and ease him into the way of things, and then kick on for the following season, the 24-25 season. See how we start giving him a lot more game time, possibly starting and all that. See how he does in the first season, obviously. But everyone, because of the Partey rumours were possibly leaving. Oh, we're going for a 19-year-old. It's the end of the world. Da, 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 da. He knows the league to an extent. He knows that he's played in the league for 2 seasons. He's played in the league, so he knows what to expect. He's not coming in from abroad as a 19-year-old and having not a clue what's coming his way, basically. Fabio alone and being generous, yeah. But we don't know what the plan was. But yeah, we've said this before, Ange, on your podcast a couple of weeks ago. Loan him at worst case. But yeah, it hasn't worked out so far. But yeah, Lampard knows the league and he knows the club. That's a manager though, and he's a shit manager. But with Levia for Southampton, as I say, he's been a young lad. He's not coming in. He's not like he's coming to Arsenal first side out from outside of the league, not knowing how physically demanding in general the league is. He knows what to expect, basically. But with Arteta and Arsenal, because of his age and all that, we will hopefully use our brains and if we do bring him in, his first season will be an easing into the squad sort of thing. Let him play a bit part here, a bit part there, and depending on how things go for 24-25 season, well, obviously we'll see if he gets promoted to the actual starting 11 or whatever. But that's for them to sort out. But the chat's going into sort of descending into chaos while I've been doing this as well, kind of weirdly. Stop this. But I think we're going to stop wrapping things up soon, guys, because it's been going on for nearly an hour now. So I need to check a few things first, make sure everything's okay. Because YouTube's still screwing me over, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, / stream, whatever you call it. See if there's any. Because always since I've been doing these little updates, these little shows I've been doing for the last week or so, whenever I fucking end the stream, within 5 minutes, more news comes out, and I think, oh fuck's sake, I'm like, I've now got to hold on to this information for the next show and all that. It's like, bit of a pain in the backside sometimes, but it is what it is on that side of things. Actually, no. You know what we can actually talk about? Perfectly actually wrap things up. That sort of ties into the last show we did on the weekend. By the way, guys, don't forget to smash that like button as well. We really appreciate the likes being hit. By the way, would really appreciate that. Yeah, let's go over to here now. One second. Great news! Got some breaking news. We got some breaking news yesterday concerning Sky and who's replacing Martin Tyler for the start of this season coming. No, I've got to go over and find the right bloody. Is it here? Here it is. Here we go. And the thing is, even though I said this on, was it Saturday we did this? Or Monday? Well, Monday today, aren't we? So Saturday we did our show on Saturday. The news was breaking about Martin Tyler's leaving Sky and basically retiring, basically from commentating in general, basically. We did a couple of hours later. We did a stream. I said my personal pick would be the ideal replacement. The ideal replacement for Martin Tyler would be Peter Drury, but with how Sky were operating at the time, I didn't believe they'd had the mentality to go out and beg on their knees for Peter to come and join Sky and be the main guy at Sky. But they have. They paid the money. And yeah, here it is. As of yesterday, this broke yesterday about, here we go, 11:40. Just gone 11:30 yesterday morning, this broke. Peter Drury is to join Sky Sports and be the main guy. So when I say the main guy, and obviously with that, American fans, don't worry, just to put you at ease. Just to put you at ease, I see some comments, sorry. He will be continuing to do his commentating job for you guys over in the States as well. But yeah, because apparently both he works at the company sort of intertwines with Sky and all that, whatever. But either way, he's still going to do his commentating for the American broadcasting system over there, whilst doing the 4:30. I'm assuming the main events at the weekend on the weekends, basically, the Premier League. So it'll be the 4:30 for us, 4:30 kickoffs, whatever that may be. This could be very interesting, and I don't think Tom's a very happy man about it, though. That's the thing, because I'm getting these sort of things come through on Twitter as well. I'm convinced that the poetry will get real old real quick. When Joy rattles off a poem at Spurs score against Arsenal, you want his head on a stick. For that to happen, Spurs have to be good, and Harry Kane will have to be motivated by a former Celtic manager to actually turn up. But this, I mean, I was saying that Peter was the perfect replacement. Let's be honest, the best man out there in terms of the passion he has for his job, for the sport. He doesn't have any bias. He hides it fucking well. And the passion as well. The main thing is the passion. You can still feed it in his commentary as well. We saw it all last season. We were getting clips on social media from doing his commentating for the American broadcasters. The passion is unbelievable in terms of how passionate he is. But yeah, I didn't, as I say, because of how Sky were going about things in terms of making people take pay cuts and this, that, and the other, and all that rumours and all that. I didn't think Sky would go cap in hand to Peter Drury and beg him. But they have. He took the job. Fantastic. and they actually are putting the money where their mouth is, basically, for once. I'll be honest. Again, you can go back and check it. Even though he was my ideal replacement, I fully expected Sky to go cheap and cheerful, basically. But no, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy. I can't wait. Obviously, I think his first game probably will be the Chelsea Liverpool game on match day 1 of the season. So that'd be interesting. Behave yourself, Steph fans, fucking Arsenal. Later, Colin, take care of yourself and see you soon, my friend. But with that, guys, we are going to wrap things up. I'm going to go and, chill for the rest of the day. I will be back tonight, by the way, just to give you a quick heads up. I will be back tonight for the England game, England versus North Macedonia. Is that? I'm gonna check that now before I actually go. But I will be back tonight, 7:45 kickoff, so about 7:30 UK time. I'll be going live. Hope you'll find a few of the guys that come and join me for it. We talk a bit more about Arsenal, the game's dead, and all that. Keep an eye on Saka. Assuming he might be playing. Declan Rice watch currently, until we know the situation later on down the line, as well. And yeah, obviously it's England versus North Macedonia at Old Trafford. But I'll be here covering it. I'll be setting that up soon in the next 5 minutes as well. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this show and all that, do spread the word in terms of share the content around. Do smash that like button, caress it, do whatever you want to it. But as long as you hit that like button, I'll be massively appreciative of it. And share the content around. Please share the content with all your friends, be it on the social medias, on WhatsApp groups, whatever. Could be mainly Arsenal fans, obviously, but if they're football fans and they're sensible football fans, they're more than welcome to join the channel as well. Keep you on your toes, Stefan. Keeping you on your toes. Here we go, mate. So leave the documents approved and done. Is that? Try and be on later for such a go. This is why I can't stand qualifiers, because the qualifying matches themselves for countries like England, Spain, or say Spain, Brazil's of this world, Argentina, etc. These are dead rubber games, for fuck's sake. How do you ask? We'll see. If you want to join us on the stream as well, it's on the game on Channel 4, by the way. For anyone that doesn't know, living in the UK, it will be on the Channel 4. Tom, if you want to join and to be Team North Macedonia, you're more than welcome to join us. You know what I mean, as in they're not going to be coming in causing aggro in terms of trying to wind me up when things go wrong for Arsenal during the season. Let's have a look at this sleever stuff one sec, because as was mentioned in the comment, I need to double check this now actually, because that's a bit that would be perfect timing in terms of I'm just about oh, it's all about done. It's just saying it's done. But me. Oh, congratulations, by the way. Big match. Actually, I've got to say this as well. Congratulations while I'm looking to Matt Turner and Flo Balogun, both USA players representing the Arsenal, won the Champions Cup or whatever tournament they're playing in the last few weeks. Beat Mexico a couple of nights ago, 3-0. Played against Canada in the final, won that as well. Balogun scored 2 goals. He scored. I know he scored. I've seen one of his goals at least. Again, I think we need to, honestly, from what I'm seeing, even I know it's out to USA and internationals and all that. I prefer him. I'd take him over Eddie. If we're going to get rid of either one of them, I'd keep Flo Balogun and move Eddie on. He'd be on loan, or best case, moving him on to past his new, basically somewhere else. Oh, fucking hell. 42 minutes ago, Edward Mendy has now agreed personal terms. Fucking is every Chelsea reject now being shipped off to fucking the Saudi League? How is this not dodgy? The owner's got shares in the Saudi League and all that, in the Saudi state, in the state itself. And suddenly, because he knows that because of the FFP and all that, he knows he's got to have the wage bill down by a certain percent, by a certain target by the end of the month. Suddenly, pretty much every single reject that has no future at Chelsea is they can't send them on in Europe. They're getting shipped off to fucking Saudi Arabia. That's not dodgy at all, is it? And they're not even being subtle about it. It's like literally a bang, 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 bang. Ridiculous. What's this? I'm not seeing nothing about Saliba, so watch as I come off it. I'm fucking saying now. Have a good day, boys, and a good day to yourself, Ange. And as I say, I hope your mum makes a full recovery as well. Big up to Russ as well. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, with that, we are going to tap out. And as I say, I'll be back about 7:30 UK time tonight for England versus North Macedonia. It's sort of Saka watch / Declan watch as well. And we'll just see what happens, basically. And if someone wants to join me, keep me awake, because I'm probably going to fall asleep live on air because I hate international football, especially being Southgate in charge. Yeah, be massively appreciated. On your way out, if you haven't already, do hit that like button. Do share the content around on all your social media platforms and WhatsApp groups, etc., as I mentioned before. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It's completely free of charge and all that. If you want to become a member like Tom, let me know. And go into the community post, you'll find a link there. I'm going to refresh that now, actually, when I get off air in a second. And yeah, that'll be there for all of you to, if you want to click on that link. It'll take you to that through, pick it whatever one level you want, be it 99p or £2.99 the second one, and go from there, basically. Yeah, I think, as I say, back tonight and then Wednesday. Wednesday. As it stands, the quiz that was meant to be last night, because obviously it's Father's Day, so we decided to rearrange it because people are having family meetings and all that. As it stands, the Who Am I quiz is being moved to, as it stands, this Wednesday coming. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you guys.